Welcome back. All right, so continuing what could be a busy-ish day. We'll see if there's trades that take place. There could be, although we are getting ready for free agency tomorrow, so we'll see. So Matt Duchene's on waivers for the purpose of a buyout. Thus the Nashville Duds. The penalty to Nashville not insignificant. So this coming season, the penalty is $2.55 million. Next year, it's $5.55 million. It's $6.55 million the year after that. And then it drops from 2026 until 2029. It's a $1.55 million penalty. That, of course, is after the contract would have expired. There were 3 years left in Duchene's contract. People will point out that Duchene had a really good year in 2021 2022, agreed, but he did not have a great year in 2022 2023, and Nashville clearly is doing some sort of a reset. Duchene's buyout is the latest move there. It does buy them some cap space. Keep in mind that they're betting on a rise in the cap following years, so the buyout penalties may not end up being as bad for Nashville as what they look like right now. We shall see. So where does Duchene end up? His agent was reached for comment I saw on Twitter, and he hasn't even processed it yet. So they have no idea what the plan's going to be tomorrow. Mike Riley is on waivers for a buyout for the Boston Bruins. It is a small penalty, $333,000 for this coming season. 1.33 million for the year after that. So he was in the final year of his contract. I know that Bruins fans for years have wanted a buyout of Riley, and there it is. Kyler Yamamoto put on waivers. So yes, the Detroit Red Wings traded for Yamamoto and Kostin because they were going to buy out Yamamoto. The Edmonton Oilers did not want to buy out Yamamoto. You want to, make that move if you can. So they gave Kostin as a freebie to get rid of Yamamoto. And the penalty for Yamamoto is very, very little. It is because he's a younger player at the time he's signed. 2/3 of the contract gets bought out. And so the penalty for Detroit is $433,000 this year, $533,000 next year. So they're good. The Detroit Red Wings get Kostin for essentially nothing, and they buy out Yamamoto as a result. Blake Wheeler is, as I already reported a video this morning, on waivers for a buyout. The penalty is $2.75 million this year and next year. And he's already said he prefers a team in the Eastern Conference. There are many already online making the connection between the fact that he played for Paul Maurice in Winnipeg. Maurice clearly really liked Wheeler, and Florida, a team looking to get over the hump. It may very well be that Wheeler ends up signing there. So we'll see what happens with Wheeler, but he wants to sign in the East. So I've already seen a lot of, well, would he fit here in Western teams? And now apparently he wants to sign in the East. Fast does sign that extension with the Carolina Hurricanes. 2 years, it's apparently in the range of $2.4 million. A decent third line option for the Carolina Hurricanes. He does have, as his name would insinuate, a lot of speed. Outside of that, though, I think he's a good player. You do wish that he'd score a couple more goals, but at any rate, for $2.5 million, the Carolina Hurricanes doing what they can to keep as many players in their employ from this past season. While there are some guys going to free agency, and we'll see what happens with their goaltending. Goaltending's a big question mark with Carolina because both Anderson and Ranta do not have a contract into next year, so we'll see what they do. Obviously, Kachetkov's going to be one of the two goalies. Who's going to be his teammate? Who's going to be the other goaltender in the net for Carolina? Josh Bailey, as expected, clears waivers. So all these players go onto waivers with the idea of, hey, do you want them? And when teams don't, then they become free agents. So Josh Bailey's a free agent for tomorrow. So this does add some names to the free agent market for tomorrow. Nothing really earth-shattering, although Duchene will probably get a pretty good contract. I would think Duchene, you've got to think, what, $5 million a year? Probably. So he was highly paid by Nashville, but at a lower cap hit, that would be far more palatable. So they get rid of both Johansson and Duchene. This is going to be a very different Nashville team next season, isn't it? So I wanted to talk about qualifying offers. Qualifying offer deadline is today. Some teams have already come out and said who they're qualifying. There are many teams that have not. The deadline, I believe, is 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern for them to, make those qualifying offers. So the qualifying offer has to be 110% of a base salary at or below $660,000. I don't think there's anybody on that base salary anymore. I think that the base salary minimum has to be $750,000 from this year. 105% if it's between $660,000 and $1 million. So again, you have to go 5% higher. 100% of base salary if it's above $1 million. However, that changed. So with the latest CBA, any contract signed after July 10th of 2020. So this is why Timo Meier's contract was not affected. Timo Meier, the actual qualifying offer would have been 10 million for him. The qualifying offer now has to be it's limited to up to 120% of the contract's annual average value. So what some restricted free agent contracts were doing before that CBA went into effect was you might get a guy's cap hit at like $3.5, $4, $5 million, but that salary at the end of the contract would be much higher. And it would be much higher because your qualifying offer then is much higher. So you get a contract that's, decent from a team perspective, but for the player, the back end of that contract guarantees they're going to get paid. So that has changed. And we'll see who ends up getting qualifying offers and who doesn't. That will add to the pool of players for tomorrow's free agency. Dubois is keeping the number 80 in LA. He took on the number 80 in remembrance of Matisse Kivlenieks. And so he will keep that number in Los Angeles, which is a nice gesture on his part. So Dubois, and again, I know there's a lot of remarks about Dubois and his heart and his wanting to be traded, but he's wanted out of Columbus. He's wanted out of Winnipeg. Now we'll see how he does in LA, and I think he should do fine. It's very rare for players to want out of Los Angeles in general. Just I'm trying to think of the last time I heard of somebody demanding a trade out of LA. So, yeah, we'll see how things go for Dubois, but he will wear the same number this coming season that he wore last season with the Winnipeg Jets. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.